So, this is going to be a little different than the classes I've done before because I've actually got stuff for you guys to do. We're not just going to talk about exercises. I'm going to actually let you guys do some of them. Usually the first summer in like 16 years, I haven't had a gym membership. Of course, it's not an excuse not to do anything. There's plenty of stuff that you can do at home and relatively cheap and easy to kind of keep yourself in shape. So, real quick, I'll just go over the basic concepts behind what we're trying to do when we exercise. So exercise, what we're trying to do is trigger the body to adapt to a greater workload. Okay? So that means that when we're exercising, first of all, there's a few things we have to accomplish in the exercise. We have to overload the muscles in the body to trigger that. Okay? But we only want to overload it a little tiny bit. The first common mistake people make when they exercise is they overload too much. So when you exercise, you are damaging the muscle and you are taxing your metabolic rate a little bit. If you go too far, what happens is not only will you not see any results, you'll actually get negative results. You'll actually go backwards. You'll actually get weaker. You'll actually gain weight. You'll lose muscle mass because you're actually breaking your body down too much. So it's just a matter of doing things incrementally. You always want to start off being cautious and err on the side of doing too little than try to do too much. Remember that when you start doing exercise, you're not going to accomplish your goals in a week or 2 weeks. You're not, especially if you're deconditioned, you're not going to see real results probably like 8 weeks. So it's a long-term process, so always start off to do things gradually and carefully. Okay? The other thing you want to pay attention to when you start to exercise is your own body. If you've got joint issues like bad knees, bad back, bad shoulders, bad elbows, bad wrists, ankles, neck, whatever, pay attention to that. Okay? If it's enough pain that it actually limits your ability to do something physical, so it's limiting range of motion or movement, then get it looked at by someone before you start, and not a chiropractor. Not that I have anything against chiropractors, but chiropractors work with bones. Okay? Bones don't move. Muscles move. Muscles pull bones out of alignment. Chiropractors reset the bones. They don't do anything to the muscles, most of them. The muscles that are causing those injuries and those defects in the bone are just going to go and do it again until they're corrected. So first of all, if you've got an issue with a joint and you're starting to do some exercises and you have like a sharp stabbing pain inside the joint, that's a signal to stop what you're doing immediately, okay? And get that checked out. Don't continue. That's not good pain. Burning along the length of the muscle, that's okay. That's good pain, okay? That means as long as the muscle can continue to contract, you keep contracting, even if you want to cry like a little girl or curl into a ball. You still continue to do that. That's okay. So watch out, pay attention to your own body. Most of you guys kind of know where your pains are and your limitations are. Everybody's got one, okay? The human body is notorious for storing up little tiny injuries over time. We call it cumulative trauma disorder. I don't know why they call it a disorder, because it's like everybody has it. It's like a disorder. You'd think it's like some people would, some people won't. We all have them. We all have a little joint problem someplace over time. So pay attention to those, okay? Also, if you have any other kind of medical conditions, like asthma, diabetes, even pre-diabetes, if your sugar's a little high, those are things you want to get checked out before you start exercising on a regular basis, because those will affect exercise. Medications, if you're on blood pressure medication, or if you're on beta blockers, or blood thinners of any kind, those will also affect exercise, so get that checked out. If you're on those medications, talk to your doctor who's prescribing the medications. Most of the time they're going to tell you to go for it. But blood pressure medications will drop blood pressure. And so exercising can cause that too. So there's a fainting incident. For example, with my pacemaker, I suffer routinely, well, all the time, I have what's called orthostatic hypotension. That means if I bend over at the waist and stand up, I faint. And fainting is fine. I've done it plenty on the battlefield. I don't care about that. I don't care when I faint charging into timber. I just fall on timber because I got armor on. Fainting from hypotension is no problem. It's the falling part that's a problem. And probably like 80% of people who die from falls fall from the floor to the ground, not off something high, okay? So that's the risk there. That also means a warm up and a cool down are important too, because warming up the body will help prevent that. And cooling down after an exercise, particularly if you've done sustained cardio for a period of time, that also prevents that hypotension. That's why we cool down. Because what happens is when the heart rate's going really high, and then you stop, it's pushing blood down into your extremities, okay? To get blood back up to the heart and then back to the brain, there's actual, what has to happen is you have to have muscular contractions. Your muscles sort of massage the blood back up, okay? So when you're on the treadmill or you're jogging or doing whatever jumping rope that you're doing for your cardio, and then you stop that muscle contraction in the legs, the blood just sits in your feet and you faint. And then you hurt yourself. And you end up with my nice wonky finger. I don't know if anybody's seen that picture, but that's how I got that nice finger. It's faked. So you want to pay attention to that, okay? None of the exercises I'm going to show you today, though, are going to be that cardio intensive, because again, these are things that I do at home. Now, I do get cardio from these exercises, okay? That's not to say that you can't omit cardiovascular exercise. Cardiovascular exercise over the last, there's a lot of stuff that's changed since I did this last time when I did it in Ontario. There's a whole lot of different stuff that's come out, different reports. Cardiovascular exercise in itself, by itself, is turning out to not be as efficient for fitness as it had originally been touted. It is good for increasing cardiovascular strength. It is good for handling cardiovascular issues like blood pressure or cholesterol, things like that that affect, you know, the cardiovascular system. But it's turning out it's not really beneficial beyond that. We're seeing that it's not particularly effective by itself for controlling weight at all. In fact, if you're just running and you're still eating a regular, eating the crap you normally eat, and you're not doing any resistance training, you probably won't see yourself lose weight. You'll feel better because you're going to have a stronger cardiovascular system. Your metabolic rate will change to a more healthy level, but you're not going to see too much from that. So, if you can get cardiovascular exercise combined with resistance training, that's really where we're seeing the ultimate kind of payoffs for people now. And that's what a lot of programs are switching to. That's why CrossFit right now is so popular, because CrossFit does do that in a very short period of time. CrossFit is good, but it's only really beneficial if you're doing it maybe at most 2 times a week. Okay? If you're doing it 3 or more, you're going to be breaking yourself down. CrossFit, when you do it, is super intense, even though it's very short. Like 20 minutes is the average length from a CrossFit workout. I've done CrossFit workouts that were 9 minutes, and I wanted to die. I wanted somebody to just come in and shoot me in the head. Okay? So, even though it's a very short period of time, it's very, very, very high intensity. And I find that people tend to start CrossFit, they do it for a while, and then they drop out. And they drop out because they feel like crap. They start getting sick. Because when you overtrain, the first thing that suffers is your immune system. Okay? So it's like a video game. Imagine you've got like health points, right? And when I exercise, I've only got so many points to rebuild muscle, fight off disease, and keep my basal metabolic rate working. When I exercise, if I overdo it, all those points that I have for handling all my other physiological needs gets diverted to repairing the damage I did exercising, which means immune efficiency gets compromised too. You can actually make yourself sick. You can lower your immune system. If you're exercising injured, you're not going to heal from that injury. Okay? They'll say, oh yeah, well, just go and exercise for your hurt, it'll make you stronger. Nope. It's exactly the opposite. You know what kills it? What doesn't kill us makes us stronger? No, it makes us weak as kittens. It's not true. So, don't exercise sick. Don't exercise injured. If you start feeling sick after your workout, look at your workout. It's a good idea to write your workouts down, record what you did and when, so that if something does come up like that, you can go back and try to see what happened, or maybe there might be something in your workout routine that is affecting you. So how often can you exercise? Resistance training, you want to give yourself 48 hours between resistance training sessions, not 24. Give yourself more than that. And then you need to look at the muscle groups you work. Okay? So for example, on a Monday, if I do exercises for my chest and back, I don't want to go Tuesday and do my arms. Right? Even though it's a different muscle group, because Monday, these are secondary to any exercise I'm going to do with my chest and back. There's no way I can exercise my chest and back and not work out my biceps and my triceps. There's no way. Also deltoids, anterior and posterior deltoids. There's no way I can work my chest without working those muscles as well. So if I hit those the next day, I'm actually going to weaken those. They're actually going to get some response from the chest and back workouts. So I want to make sure I'm staggering those apart. So what I would do, if you want to break it up that way, you do, chest and back one day, you do legs the next, then go ahead and do arms, then do legs, then you go back to chest and back, and you kind of rotate it around like that. Give yourself time to recover, because it's in the recovery phase, in the resting phase, okay, that's where you will build muscle. That's where things improve. Because again, back to what I said at the beginning, exercise is triggering an adaptation. Okay, the exercise just triggers it. It doesn't cause it. The recovery and the resting phase is where the adaptation takes place. And if you're not giving your body time to recover from your workout, you will not get, again, you won't get results. Okay? So again, common mistake is too much, too fast. Always start off slower, build up. So, so the stuff I brought today now will leave no one any excuse not to work out at all. You won't have any excuses anymore. Some of the stuff I brought is fairly cheap to purchase. Some of it you can make. Some of it's a little more expensive. And I'll start with that. So the first thing I'll show you is the one thing that I've used in my workout routine, even when I had a gym membership. I've used this since 2009. I was a certified instructor with this device. I taught classes for about 2 years with it. I'm not anymore, so I'm not getting any kickbacks from this. I used to, but I don't now. So this is called TRX. I cannot remember what it stands for. It was invented by Navy SEALs, so who knows? They like to make up acronyms for everything. Okay? So, it's a pretty simple device. So the history behind the TRX is this. In the late 80s, Navy SEALs were being deployed to special ops programs. Okay, now, the creator of the TRX was a Navy SEAL, and what he tells us this story is that he had to do a mission that involved climbing a cliff face in full gear. Okay, so he had to go rock climbing in full gear. They put him in a safe house, and he sits there in the safe house for 8 weeks with no exercise equipment. Okay? He's got to stay conditioned or he's not going to be able to perform his mission. 6 weeks is more than enough time to completely become deconditioned. So he's trying to figure out how he can't leave the safe house either. I'm only guessing because if he steps outside, he's going to be arrested. He's probably not supposed to be where he's performing this mission. So he says that in his go bag, which they always have with him, for some reason he threw his blue Jeet Kune-Do, not Jeet Kune-Do, it was really Jiu-Jitsu belt. So he had his, those karate belts. He threw it on a door, closed the door on it, and started climbing on it. And then they got so popular, guys would take their boat repair kits and make these. And then they'd go back to the base, and they'd have their master chief and the technicians would start building these things. When he got out of the Navy SEALs, this is what he developed. So basically what this is, and I wish I could hook it up today. I don't know. Will that open? I'll show you real quick. It's better to have the door closed the other direction. I can show you real quick. I'll slide it in. So this is the attachment for doing this with the door inside. There's another one I have that's for doing it outside. That's the nice thing about this is I can take it and do it outside. I can throw it over a tree branch. I can throw it over monkey bars, wherever. Anywhere I can loop or attach it, I can use this. So this is great if you want to go jogging and then you want to do your resistance training before you go home, or hiking. You can take this in the mountains with you. I've taken this in the mountains. I've hooked it up on tents, on ridge poles. So on doors, ideally, if you have the TRX, you want to do it on a door that closes the other direction, because I'm going to pull it open. But if you do, you can slide it back into the corner, and that will help a little bit. Okay. So basically, this is just suspension training. Now, there's nothing new about suspension training. Okay. Suspension training is probably one of the oldest forms of exercise in the world. What it's using is gravity and my own body weight to create resistance. It's the same thing gymnasts use all the time. You know, that's basically what most of gymnastics is. So I'm able to just lean into this and start to do an exercise. Now, what I can do to modify the exercise is I can, if I widen my stance and stand relatively straight, I'm going to decrease the resistance. If I narrow my stance and go a little deeper, and I'm going to slide in the shoes, that's going to create more resistance. If I go to 1 foot, it's going to create more resistance. I can start in this position, so I'm facing it. This will work, all the muscles in the back. But the other thing that's nice about the TRX is that the TRX works the body according to systems of muscles. It's a musculoskeletal system. Okay? That means that anytime I'm using the exercise, using TRX exercise, all of the muscles in my body are engaged. Okay? Not just the muscles that I'm using as the primary movers, but everything is engaged. My core, my feet, my legs, my head, my neck, everything gets involved. And it gets worked accordingly in sort of a hierarchy of work that it has to perform. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right? So that the body's being used the way it naturally wants to work. Okay? So this is what we would call functional training, essentially. It lets the body kind of perform the way it wants to. I'm not doing anything to the body like, you know, bicep curls, okay, are great for building biceps. There's nothing wrong with that. But when in the world, in the natural world, do you pick up 50 pounds and lift it like this 10 times? Not often. But this will simulate a lot of natural function in the body. So if I switch it and come this way, now I'm working the front of my body. I'm working my triceps, my chest, and again, core, quads, neck, everything. Now the key to this, to making that successful, is I'm going to maintain neutral spine while I use this. Does everybody know what neutral spine is? So neutral spine means that my spine's in alignment. Here's how I know. My ear will be lined over my shoulder's over my hips will be. This is the key. I have to stay in neutral spine while I perform these exercises. So if I go like this, it's gone. Okay? I'm not performing that. I'm not going to get the benefits from the exercise. But if I stay in it in neutral spine, I will. Because now gravity is going to pull on my whole body. My whole body's got to function and stay balanced and level and even. Okay? I think the TRX, this basic set, it's expensive. The basic set is about $180. But it is a very worthwhile investment. You can perform, there's I think about 300 exercises that you can perform on this. You can take it anywhere you go. And $180, it's about a quarter of a gym membership. You know, there's tons of resources online for the TRX too. I mean, and there are, you know, if you're into that, there's tons of celebrities that use this. There are athletes that use this. This is very popular in the military right now for fighting. Okay, a lot of mixed martial artists use this now because this is also easier on the joints than traditional weightlifting. Okay, so than traditional training. So, who wants to give it a try? All right, come on. Good length. So, I'm not going to go into this because I'm not doing a TRX class too much. But you want to be able to adjust, you can adjust these for different exercises, different heights. So let's just do a back. So go ahead and rip the handles that way. Now, when I do this, when I do my exercises, particularly in relation to SCA heavy fighting, there's a theory called specificity. In other words, I want to train in a fashion that mimics the kind of movements and actions I perform when I fight. So when I do my back exercises, I don't want my hands like this. I don't hold my shield like this. And I don't hold my sword like that. I want it like this. And so I'm going to turn my elbows in. Now I'm working the muscles in the back that I'm going to use when I'm fighting because my hands are in the same position. So I always want to think about what position am I in when I fight, and I want to simulate that or mimic it in my exercises as much as possible. Okay? So my hands are here, so go ahead and broaden your stance just a little bit. Go ahead and lean back, straighten your arms. I'll hold the door up so it doesn't open up on you. There you go. So now, neutral spine. Can you feel that already? No? Is it too easy right now? Stay there though. We won't change it. So, it's engaging your arms a lot as well. This is another why this is really good for fighting, because your arms are never going to get a rest. Your forearms and your hands are going to constantly be contracted, even though they're not the primary mover in the exercise. This is going to improve grip strength and stability in the wrists, which is a big one for SCA fighters, particularly if you're going to start using center held round shield. This is a big one, which I'll talk about later. So now what I want you to do is, to do the movement, I want you to pull your shoulder blade together in the back first, so your back is flat. Now when her back goes flat, you see how their shoulders go down and they rotate back. That's the correct position we want to be in before she pulls up. It's also flattening out her core, and it's giving her lower back stability so that she's not injuring her lower back when she performs the exercise. Now go ahead and just do a row, just pull yourself up. There you go. Good. Keep tension in here, don't let this go slack. Keep tension in here. Go back and do it. Good, come on up. Okay, pretty simple. If she wants to increase it, now go ahead and put your feet together. And you can go a little deeper if you want. And just kind of play around until you feel like you're getting a little bit of a workout. Now, you can go ahead and keep going. Just keep going while I talk. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. Keep those shoulder blades together in the back every time you pull up. You can let the shoulder blades relax when you extend, but start that engagement first and pull up. If your scapula are winging, then you're losing resistance. You're also going to injure your shoulders. And by injury, I don't mean necessarily that she's going to pull or injure her muscles while she performs the exercise. She's going to train an imbalance into her shoulders if those scapula are winging and they're not flat. And that's going to cause an injury later. Probably she'll tear a rotator cuff when she's fighting. That's when those injuries pop up. This is where you cause injuries that you have when you fight. You think you do it while you're fighting, but it's these kind of repetitious motions that cause injuries. They only pop up when you fight because now they're under extreme duress. This is where those injuries are either made or fixed, is right here, right now. So she's got that nice stable core, and there's all kinds of exercises you can do with this stability, with this kind of training, in a standing position. There's also one you can do on the ground. Go ahead, let go of that for a second. You want to do this next one? Yeah? All right. Okay. So here's what you're going to do. You can use suspension training to help with more traditional things like pull-ups and push-ups. So go ahead and lie on your back. Nope, face with your feet facing this way. Okay, so on your back. Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to cross your feet. Okay? And what we're going to do is put your feet in the handles. Keep them crossed. Now, flip over this way onto your stomach. There we go. Now go into a push-up position. There you go. There you go. You see how that's going to increase that workout considerably? There's another one you want to get really brave, Aislinn. If you can do this next one, I won't pick on you again all day. I'll give you like a month off. So go into a push-up. Go up into that plank. Go into a plank. So go into up like you've done a push-up and hold yourself up. Now pull your knees to your chest. Go down again. You did it. There's one called atomic push-ups. You do a push-up, bring the knees to the chest, straighten the legs, go back down. Push-up, knees to the chest. This is probably one of the most dynamic exercises you can get off this. Okay, that's good. Go ahead. You're good. I'll leave you alone. There's other ones you can do on your back in this position. I'll do that one here. I'll show you. It'll pop open on me now. Watch. Crack that on the floor. Which is a row off the floor. You can do it like that. About as high as I can go. Yeah, I mean it's tough. So you can see, you can stay with the suspension training. You can stay really simple, or you can go really extreme. Did you make one of these at home? Yeah. Yeah, you could easily. Again, gymnasts have been doing suspension training forever. This is nothing new. This is just a nice slick thing that they're marketing, you know. Anything you can get that's going to hold up, just make sure if you make it, it's going to support your weight. This will hold up about 350 pounds. Vidar uses this. I turned him onto this a long time ago, and he uses this all the time. And he's large. So if you're going to make one, yeah, weight test it first. Because I've had these things break off of fixtures and things and watch people slam onto their back. So I don't want to get too hung up on that. So, suspension training. Easy to do at home. Let me get another one here real quick. We've seen these, right? Resistance bands. Now, resistance bands are great as well. They're cheap. I think this set probably set me back maybe 20 bucks. And it came with a DVD, which you don't need. If you notice, the colors, ignore that. Okay? Every company that makes this, there's a bunch of different companies that make resistance bands, resistance tubing, and they use different colors for different weights. Look at the thickness, that's what you want to look at. The thicker the tube, the heavier the resistance. Do not underestimate the suspension bands. Do not. They will kill you if you do. You will not make much progress. So I'm going to take the very light one. So, a word on resistance tubing, okay? You have different types of muscular actions and different kinds of exercises that affect the muscles differently. Okay, we have isokinetic, which is traditional weightlifting, which is where the resistance is mostly coming through the lifting phase. In other words, as I resist gravity in isokinetic exercises, that's where I'm getting the benefit in the muscle. There's isometric. Everybody knows that one. That's where it's just a single contraction. I'm just holding a position like a plank. Planking for the core is an isometric contraction. Is that right? What did I just say?
You added an exercise.
I did. Isometric, thank you. That's what I meant. If isokinetic, isometric, this one I cannot remember the name of now. I just had it a second ago. This is different, okay? Resistance tubing does not have gravity involved, right? I'm not resisting gravity when I lift this. I'm resisting the band. Isotonic. So it's different. The phase is when I relax. Okay? That's an isotonic contraction. The resistance comes in stronger as I relax because I'm not letting the band gain. I'm resisting the band. So when I do the initial pull, I'm really getting more benefit here. Now, isotonic is great for people who are recovering from injuries. It's what they use in PT. In fact, the equipment that they design for PTs is really cool, so that they can actually control the isotonic load on the muscle. So it's very different in that regard. So, for example, shoulder raises. Okay. So, like I said, if I work my chest and back, I'm going to work my anterior and posterior deltoids, and I'm going to work them pretty well. Can I do exercises that isolate those exclusively? Yes, and I'll show you some others here in a minute. Do I need to do that? You know, maybe, maybe not. If you're doing chest and back on a regular basis, you don't really have to focus a whole lot specifically on your anterior, right here, and posterior deltoid. Okay? You don't really need to focus on those. Lateral deltoids, though, there's a third muscle in your deltoid. That's not getting touched when you do chest and back. So you can't eliminate shoulder exercises entirely. Shoulder exercises, of course, are critical for maintaining integrity in the joint. A very shallow joint. And that's so that we get this wonderful range of motion in the joint. But the payoff is it dislocates extremely easily, particularly in men under 30. Men under 30 will dislocate like that. Okay? Men over 30, we rip. Take your pick. I don't know which one's better. So I want to make sure that I'm getting, that the deltoids are getting work so they can help protect that joint. Now, how do the deltoids protect it? Just by creating strength, there's more tension across the joint. It's holding it in tighter. I mean, that's literally what it's doing. It's actually just holding it in tighter. As far as its ability to resist load, the shoulder works in a very funny way. If I have a weight in my hand that's maybe under 5 pounds, and I lift it, that's all rotator cuff. Once I go over 5 pounds, then the deltoid kicks in. Here's where the tear occurs. When it's a weight greater than 5 pounds, and the deltoid kicks in at the wrong moment, okay, imagine the two muscles fighting for control of the joint. You've got your rotator cuff contracting, and all of a sudden the stronger muscle comes in and pulls, and it rips it. That's where you injure that rotator cuff. Okay? If I strengthen that deltoid to have just more tension on there, and it's getting a stronger nerve signal from the brain to contract at the correct time, then I don't have that imbalance in the joint. The deltoid is already helping hold some tension just because it's tighter, okay, across the joint. So the rotator cuff's getting some support. But then when it kicks in at the right time. And that's another critical part of resistance training, is not just the strength aspect, but the protection of the joints and the neurology. The nerves that innervate the muscle get worked out as well. You get a stronger, more even contraction when you do resistance training. That's really the critical part for the shoulder when you're fighting. So shoulder raises, these are great for shoulder raises, particularly if you have shoulder injuries, because this is the part that's going to hurt you when you do a shoulder injury. But on here, all I'm fighting is that resistance on the band a little bit. There's no gravity involved. There's no risk of a weight dropping in my hand. Once I've got it to a certain point, the resistance is stable and it's not going to get any heavier.